Izzy from Minnesota. Izzy, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you for joining us tonight. So we'll get to Izzy in a second. She was a masterclass student from the previous spring. But just a little intro on who we are and what we do if you haven't seen us. So again, my name is Joe Sebastian. I'm the founder of Athletes in AP History, and we help student athletes master their AP exams so they can earn college credit by scoring fours and fives, hopefully fives, on all their AP exams. We started this Facebook group back in September to help parents and students get some resources into your hands to understand how the AP course works, and of course to support you throughout the year. And because we do believe that athletes, especially like athletes like Izzy, could not have to trade off her athletics or her academics and excel in both. So Izzy, once again, welcome. You are a 11th grader, going a rising senior now. That's pretty
Yep.
exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And you are from Minnesota. So by nature, by birthright in Minnesota, you have to play hockey. It's
Pretty much. Yep. It's a
absolutely.
given.
So not only are you an excellent hockey player for your school that you play at, you are also a travel hockey player, correct?
Yep. So I at like this time of year in the spring when I was studying for my AP exam, I was doing more traveling hockey because regular season got done in like February. So I had like weekly practices and workouts for that. So
So you're busy. You're busy around the clock. And when you're
yep.
not playing, you're probably practicing, right?
Yep.
You do anything else extracurriculars wise?
No.
No?
Like for school, I participate in like rallies. So it's like athletes that like promote like sporting events, and then I'm in like LEQ. So when like freshmen come in to high
Okay.
school, seniors and juniors help like
Yeah.
what's the word? Like welcome them. And
Yeah.
then yeah, besides that, nothing.
So just full-time hockey almost, right?
Yep, pretty much.
When is your off? Do you have an off season?
It's about a week in between
About a week.
spring and summer.
Okay. Very cool.
Yep.
And do you have aspirations of playing in college?
Yep.
Like big school, middle school? What do you think?
Depends.
Men's?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't ask you this one. Are you being like actively recruited or anything like that? Or you got any looks?
Yeah, it's like a process that just keeps going.
Right. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Okay, cool. Well, hey, so let's, I know it's the end of the year. I know you don't want to think about school probably, but just for a couple minutes while we have everyone's attention, kind of back up and go back to the start of the school year. Just kind of walk us through you going into AP World for everybody. Like, how was that? Like, you're starting your junior year.
Like back in September.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think it's like a really broad course. So we started learning stuff from really earlier times back in September. And I think it was like a lot thrown at a young, like junior, I guess, per se, like who didn't do AP classes before. So it was like a lot of information coming really fast and learning units in like a span of weeks versus like in the previous years, it was like all American history or like not an advanced level. So it kind of was just all really fast, I think.
Gotcha. So this was your first AP course, your first AP
Yep.
experience. Okay. So, and of course you're playing hockey throughout the whole thing. So there's just a lot to keep up with. I think your mom joined, she was one of the first people to join the group actually back in the fall, early winter. And actually just, you were a winner of the free masterclass. We did a giveaway at the end of the year last year, and you were the winner and got masterclass access for free for the full year. So I think we got started in January, right? Kind of like onboarding and everything like that, if I recall.
Yeah.
Okay. So just kind of like, share a little bit. Now we started test prep kind of like around then in February and continued on through May, but just kind of share like your experience with that. How did that go?
Taking the courses.
Yeah. So your involvement in the master class, did it benefit you any, did it give you any benefits, anything like that?
Yeah. So I took the class and watched videos and had like documents connected with a drive on each unit, and I got like 2 books sent to me. So then I would like read chapters in them, and then I would go back and do like multiple choice questions and short answer questions. And I think it helped because like with the exam being so far out, starting to see some of the materials sooner on helped. And then while I was finishing learning in class outside of the master class, it like would all connect. And then when it came to the exam, taking previous like practice exams and writing with the course helped, and kind of watching videos step by step of how to fill everything out and like pace yourself on the exam was really helpful.
That's great. So was there anything specific that you were struggling on before starting the master class, like the writing, the multiple choice, anything specific that you saw some benefit with it once you joined?
Probably like the writing, because I think when you have major ideas, trying to connect everything is really hard. And like when I would do LEQ practices or DBQs, seeing examples of how to like write them and like having our one-on-one calls of how to fill them out was really helpful. Because I feel like if you didn't take it before that or know what you're like getting into, and then you take the test, it could be a lot thrown at you.
Right.
So I think it's really helpful.
How much, because I remember you saying on our one-on-one calls that you're like, I got the SAQs were down pretty much. It was the LEQ and the DBQ. What did you feel like you didn't get the specific strategies when you were taking the course? Like, was this just kind of like a refresher and a booster? Like, walk us through that a little bit.
Like, are you saying from my high school class versus this?
Yeah, versus the master class as well.
I think the examples were very much more specific in the master class. Like you had specific events from each unit, and in class I think it's more of just broad. Like you would take examples from like real life and try and like learn the material of how to write a DBQ, but it wouldn't necessarily be history.
Right.
Because they're trying to like still introduce it to you. And then I think in the master class, when I had like real situation examples from each unit of how to write them, I think that was like more helpful. I knew how to like mainly write them, like with contextualizing and how to like format them, but I think like getting my hands on doing it with the class was helpful.
Awesome. So now we're still obviously waiting on results on your score until mid-July, but you did see some improvements, right? I mean, you got some good feedback from your teacher, and just kind of walk us through that as well, because I saw your mom shared that you won the Genghis Khan award.
Oh my gosh. So in class, my teacher actually, so I think he previously had graded for the AP college like exams, and so he like was familiar with it, but he had a strategy for the DBQ of only using 3 documents. And then he was like, you could still get like points for it, but you maybe wouldn't get all of them. And then when I took the master class and I got to DBQs, I used all, was it 7 of them?
Yeah.
And then I told him I was going to use all 7. He was really surprised. He's like, oh, okay. And then I practiced in the master class, and then we had a practice example in class given a random prompt, and I used all 7 documents, and I was the only one in my class to get a 5 on it. And he was really surprised that I was able to like format it, but like understanding how to do it in the class helped me, because I think he was just trying to get the fastest way to learn it possible and then move on to the next thing to study. And when I like specifically worked on it on my own outside time with it in the master class, it helped.
That's awesome. So you became the conqueror of the DBQs, right?
Pretty much.
So if you're on, so we had a couple people comment earlier that because we did a tag of DBQ if they wanted the replay. But anyone that's joining us live, if you want access to our DBQ template, we will give that away at the end of the live stream. Just type or comment DBQ down in the chat, and we'll make sure we get that to you. It's the exact same template that we use in the masterclass and that Izzy used to help master the DBQ. Kind of break it down pretty easy for us. So you definitely got some benefits from that, right? And then the class eventually transitioned to practice exams. So I made you take some length practice exams. How was that? With your whole schedule now?
Yeah, so I didn't really know what to expect, because like they're in the backs of the books and you were like, don't cheat yourself, because you're not going to help yourself in the exam. So do it like being
For real.
serious. And so when I like opened them, I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of questions. But with the format in the back of those two books, it was very close to the exam. The same wording and like some of the questions. And I had even brought my books into class when we were like using study days, and I had my teacher look at them and he's like, these are some really hard prompts. So like if you got these down, you'll be fine. So I did the practice exams, but I split them up kind of like I would do 30 and then like take a little break and then come back and do more. And then I'd go back and check my answers and see how many I did. And then it gave you like explanations to the answers so you could review if you got it wrong or right and why. And then there were 2 different practice exams, and then there were like SAQs and etc.
Yeah.
So it was
Awesome.
helpful.
And then we met and went over some of your essays as well. Anything like real memorable with the whole class? I mean, I know it's extra work on top of everything you're doing.
Yeah.
But just most memorable moment from it?
Probably when I didn't understand how to use outside evidence and you knew I played hockey, so you were trying to get me to think of NHL players and how they'd be beneficial to a situation.
Can't even
So
remember how I do it. I'm really good in the moment analogies, but go ahead.
Yep. So then it helped me understand how to bring outside evidence in to get to a specific point.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, making it relatable, definitely. Awesome.
Yep.
And so then, I haven't really officially touched base with you since you took the exam, but going in on May 11th, almost a month ago, how was it? How did you feel? How did you feel going in? How did you feel coming out? Were you prepared?
I think I was prepared. There was only so much you could do at that point. Walking in, you're like, well, I only have so much in my head now, so I have to hope that it'll help me. But the multiple choice was like cutting it close on time because you're only given a certain chunk of time, and then you have to read them, and the prompts are kind of complex, so you have to read them a couple times, understand, and they were pretty big stanzas, so I think it was just like a lot at one time, but I was familiar with it, so it wasn't a surprise. And in the moment you're anxious about the time too, so I think that. But the LEQ and DBQ I was pretty confident in, so
It's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm sure you did. Did you get any feedback from your peers? Did you feel better than how they were if they weren't fully prepared?
I think we weren't supposed to talk about the exam, but
Right.
high school students, they do anyway.
We're not talking about the exam.
Yep. And I think everyone was just like, I didn't expect those to be the prompts, if anything. I guess that's what we talked about. So you kind of have to be ready for anything to be thrown at you and be familiar with all fields of the different eras. But I think we were all just surprised about how fast time goes. Like you have 4 hours or 3.5, and it just is like over like that. And your hand gets a little sore after with all that writing.
Absolutely. Okay.
Yep.
So awesome. Well, what is next for you this coming year?
Like AP courses wise?
Yes.
I think I'm going to be taking AP psychology, and I'm not sure about a history. I think at our school we take like government and economics.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
So, but I think previously I wish I would have taken AP US history before AP American, or AP World, but.
Okay. Awesome. Well, guys, if this was helpful, if you're watching, and again, you want that DBQ template, just comment DBQ below. We'll make sure we get you that template. Izzy, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it. The short notice to fill in. We had Laura scheduled. She's going to come on hopefully next week. She has scheduling conflicts, so I really appreciate it on short notice. I'm wishing you nothing but the best. It was a pleasure working with you. I hope you stay in touch.
Yes, I appreciate everything you did.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And then follow up with me when you get your score. Okay?
Sounds good. I will do that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good night, everybody.